All right, everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. And today we're talking about fish, but not the kind that you eat. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. All right, so as you can see, the camera is at a bit of a different angle than it normally is when I record videos in my kitchen. And that's because today we're talking about fish care. Because if you've got kids, you likely will have at some point a fish as a pet because kids love fish. So I have learned quite a bit. It's an unfortunate reason why I've learned so much about fish, and I don't want that to happen to you. So we had another betta fish. This is our current betta fish. His name is ABC. But we had another betta fish before this. His name was Dr. Seuss, and unfortunately he died because I had no idea how to take care of his water and make sure that it stayed clean. It looked clean, but it wasn't actually clean. So today I'm going to go over everything that I've learned so that hopefully you don't make the same mistake that I did. And at the end of this video, I have a hilarious story about how my daughter finally went vegan thanks to our first fish, ABC. So stay tuned to the end of the video for that story. But first, let's talk about fish. So betta fish have become very popular in the last 20 years as pets because they've been kind of marketed as this incredibly easy fish. You can just throw them in a vase and never pay attention to them really other than, feeding every now and again, and they will be perfectly happy. Unfortunately, that's not quite true. So in the wild, betta fish are a tropical fish that live in quite a large environment. They actually don't live in rice paddies. From what I've read, they live in rivers and streams that can be, hundreds of miles long. And so they're used to quite a large environment. So the minimum size tank that you want to get for your betta fish is going to be 3 gallons. Anything smaller than that, and it's a little too crowded for them to be really happy. This is a 3.5 gallon tank that I have here. It's a top fin brand, and it's flat in the back, so you can't see my hand there because it's flat in the back, and then it's rounded in front. So it gives really good views all around. Now, let me go over what we've got in this tank. Now, it came with the LED lights and a filter. Now, the filter uses these little cartridges here, and it just filters out the large particles in the water. It doesn't really filter anything else, but it's good for filtering large particles out of the water. Then I added rocks. Let me back it up here so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so I added a rock substrate here. I've got some plants back here. I can't remember what they're called. I got them at the fish store. They were a lot larger, but because the water quality wasn't great, they're now regrowing. So the water quality is much better now, and they're starting to look a whole lot better. And then I've got, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, there's one. So right there is an algae ball, and then there's another one. And these algae balls, they act actually more like moss. And so all the plants provide oxygen and clean the water for the fish. And then right here, I've got a little, it's a coconut shell that's got moss like strapped onto it so that it can grow on there. And then here, I'm trying to see, make sure I can tell that you can see where I'm pointing at. So right here is a little, like a little cave for our betta fish, ABC, to go into when he wants to get away from the lights. Now, betta fish can't tolerate lights on, bright lights on all the time. You can, if you've got it in like your child's bedroom, you can use it as a night light with a much dimmer light. Ours, let me see if I can see, ours can change colors and it goes through a bunch of different colors. There we go, green, goes back to white. There's like a blue one that's really, there we go. The blue one is really kind of mellow, and that would be good for a night light. But the bright lights, you need to turn them off at night and give them a rest. And so we keep our betta fish in our kitchen just because that's kind of the central area of our house. And we want to be able to see him and interact with him, and he's very active. And so we keep him in our kitchen. And then we give him this little cave for him to go into when he wants to get away from the lights if we've been up late at night or anything like that. So what else do we have in this tank? Oh, let me turn it so you can see. There we go. So as I mentioned, bettas are tropical fish. So I've got this heating element here, and this, I'll put a link to everything that I'm talking about down in the description box. This is an amazing heating element. It does everything for you. You just stick it down into the water and let it go. You plug it in, obviously, and let it go. It monitors the temperature of the water and it keeps it at a steady 78 degrees. So it automatically turns on and off to keep the water at a steady 78. So I love this, and it's really small. You don't really need a very big one if you've got a small, like 3-gallon tank. So that is what I've got in my tank. Let me turn it back around. You can see ABC there. Now, let's talk about how we keep the water good for our fish. So first thing, let's see. When you're putting in water, you're going to want to use this API Quick Start. This is what I use. There's a lot of different things that you can use. This cleans out chlorine and chemicals from tap water. This specific one also has beneficial bacteria. I think this is the one. Oh wait, I'm sorry. This one removes the chlorine. But this one has the beneficial bacteria, and this one eliminates ammonia, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to use this and also this API stress coat. So this API stress coat has the bacteria. Sorry, I got that. Or no, sorry, bacteria. This one has takes away the chlorine. Sorry. I just like throw them in there. I don't really know what they do. I watched a lot of YouTube videos to find out all these separate pieces of information. So I'm trying to put them all together in this video for you in one place, but I am not a fish expert. So you can watch this video, and then if you want to learn like all the nitty gritty, you can go watch all of the other YouTube videos that there are from actual fish experts. But I'm just going to kind of go over how you can keep your fish alive and happy, and the bare minimums of what you want for your fish. Oh, before I forget, we also have snails. Let me see if I can find... Oh, here we go. I'm not sure if you can see it. He's like right there. But we've got a couple of racer snails, and those help keep the glass and the rocks and things like that clear. Anyways, back to the chemicals. Okay, so you're gonna put both of these in. This has the beneficial bacteria, and this one has aloe vera, and it replaces their slime coat, which helps keep their fins and scales healthy. And then this takes out the chlorine, etc. Now let's talk about bacteria real quick. So there's two kinds of bacteria. This bacteria specifically in here it gets rid of the ammonia. It turns it into nitrites. And then there's also bacteria in here that turns the nitrites into nitrates or something like that. But anyways, it keeps your ammonia level low. Now, the one thing I didn't realize is I was doing weekly water changes when we had Dr. Seuss, and I thought that was good enough. I was using another formula that conditioned water, tap water, got rid of chlorine and hard chemicals and things like that, but I wasn't using any bacteria. Now, you need bacteria in your fish tank to help keep that ammonia level low. Otherwise, it's going to get too high, even if you're doing water changes once a week. And I was changing out, like a third of the water every single week, and he still died. So there's two kinds of bacteria. This one eats the ammonia. There's another kind of bacteria. I don't have a bottle right now. I've got another one coming in April in my subscribe and save from Amazon. And that type of bacteria is actually going to clean and eat all the physical waste down at the bottom. So in addition to a snail that helps keep your glass clear because it climbs all over the glass and things like that, you're also going to want to put in that second type of bacteria to keep the physical waste down at the bottom from the fish and the fish food, etc. You're going to want to use that bacteria to keep all that clean. Okay, so there's those guys. Then I also use aquarium salts. There we go. And I actually write on these. I write on all of them. I look at the directions, and then I write how much I need for my specific size tank. So like this one is 1 milliliter per gallon. So I have a 3.5 gallon tank, so I need 3.5 milliliters. This one needs a 0.5 milliliter per gallon, so I only need 1.75 milliliters for my tank. And then I've got these aquarium salts here, and these just help your fish stay healthy. They help if they've got like fin rot and things like that. So you don't need to use this every time, but you can. And then I put on here that I need 1.5 teaspoons each time. Now I have a 1 gallon pitcher for like juice, Kool-Aid, whatever, and I just use that. So every week or two I swap out a gallon of water and I put all this stuff in there. All right, so next let's talk about keeping those plants healthy. So I've got these guys, they're called flourish tabs, and you basically stick them down in the gravel, and it's like fertilizer for your plants. So it helps feed them the nutrients that they need. So that's a good thing to have. Another good thing to have is this API test kit. It's a good idea to test your water at least like once a month. This is super easy. You just take out a strip, it looks like that. Get it close so you can see it looks like that. And you like swish it around in the water and you pull it out like this, set it down, and you give it a couple seconds. It's like the first 2 are supposed to be read immediately and the rest are supposed to be read after 30 seconds. And I have just circled on here, see if I can get it close enough. I have circled on here, it's not focusing, but I've circled on here exactly where I want to see all of those at, so that when I compare the test strip to the bottle, I don't have to remember the numbers. I can just look, or if somebody else is testing, like my husband, he can just hold the test strip up and see exactly where the colors should be. And if it's off, then we can add the ammonia, bacteria, or the chlorine killer, or whatever into the water. So those are really good to have. They're super cheap. It comes 25. Where does it say? I'm not seeing it, but it's like 25 in a bottle. So is it 25? So if you test like once a month or like twice a month, I mean, this is going to last you for a while and it's super cheap. So that's good to have. We talked about filters. So you're going to get the filter that is for your specific aquarium. And let me just show you the filters. They're so easy to swap out. So these are the filters that I've got. And you just run them under cold water to rinse off any like dust or anything, and then you just slide them down into the filter. So super easy. Now, another thing that makes water changes really easy is this siphon. This is called a Python siphon, and you basically just stick it all down into the water, put your thumb over the end, bring it out, and I put this little clip on there. This little clip, so I can clip it to the side of the bowl and then take your thumb off, and it's going to empty out into the bowl. So this makes water changes super easy. You can also just like use a cup and a bowl and just scoop out the water. Just don't scoop up your fish. All right, finally, let's talk about food. So I have 2 different foods for my betta fish. I've got these blood worms that I feed them in the morning, and I just give them like 1 or 2, not too many. They're really tiny fish. They don't need a whole lot of food. And then in the evening, I give them a couple of these pellets. And these I got on Amazon. These I got at the store, but I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon. I'll see if I can find a link for you. So I think that's it that I can think of. So basically, you want a minimum 3 gallon tank. You want a heater and a filter to keep your water clear and your fish warm. Plants are great. My fish here, ABC, he loves this little, here we go, this little pad of moss. He loves like playing in that. It's crazy that fish play, but I mean, all animals are, they like playing. So he loves playing in this little moss pad. You're going to need to do water changes at least twice a month, every 2 weeks. Once a week is even better. You're going to need to add the beneficial bacteria and the chlorine killer each time. The aquarium salts will also help. And then these are every 3 months. So 4 times a year, you're going to add these tabs and you're just going to stick them down into the gravel right by your plants. And that is it. That is basic fish care. So like I said, I am not a fish expert at all. Like I know how to take care of this fish and that's like pretty much it. and I can keep my kids alive. Like I can feed my kids and keep them alive. So if you want to learn more about fish care, there are a lot of great fish experts on YouTube, and you can watch their videos to learn how to cycle your tank, and about converting nitrites into nitrates, and blah, 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 all that technical stuff. But that's the basics, and this is what's been working for us. So now let's get to that story about how my daughter finally turned completely vegan. So my husband and I and my daughter, we only had one kid at that time. We went vegan on Father's Day a couple of years ago, and we did it for a month straight, and I just kept going. I thought it was so easy to cook that way. And my husband, I do all of the cooking at home, so my husband just kind of kept vegan at home. But when we would go out to eat, he would still eat meat and animal products. He's what I like to call a chegan. So my husband's a chegan, and he still is. That's, up to him. But I like to keep a vegan diet. And for my kids, I like to keep them on a vegan diet. So anyways, one day my husband was eating fish sticks. His cousin had visited us and left fish sticks in our freezer. So my husband cooked them, and he was eating fish sticks. And my daughter at the time was like 2. And of course, 2-year-olds, anything that you're eating, they want a bite of. And so she was asking, oh, can I have a bite? Can I have a bite? So he's like, yeah, sure. Here, have a bite. And she was eating it. He goes, that's a fish stick. And she goes, fish? And we were learning, and still are learning, ASL, American Sign Language. And she goes, fish? Dr. Seuss, fish? So she put it together that what was in her mouth was basically the same thing as her pet. My husband felt terrible, and ever since then, he has never given her any kind of animal products since then. So thanks to our first fish, Dr. Seuss, my husband realized that, oh yeah, that's probably not such a good thing to do. And maybe he'll learn that lesson for himself, that, eating animals is probably not the best. But anyway, so that's how my daughter went vegan. You guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber and you like these kind of videos along with recipe videos, I do a lot of recipe videos, be sure to click that little red subscribe button down below and hit that notification icon too. That way you don't miss any of my videos when they're released. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.